Let me start with two examples of students I've had. Yelena was a Russian student and a single mother who has only been in the US for a few years, and she passed the CATW equivalent exam after one semester with me. She was open-minded to my strategies, and she spent a lot of time practicing and therefore improved her writing a lot within one semester. Then there's Christy, born in the US, whose writing level was way above Yelena's initially, or when they first began with me. Christy, unlike Yelena, however, resisted everything I taught her. I taught Christy for only 2 hours before she disappeared, to my relief. However, for the next 4 semesters or so, I've seen her around and heard from her professors and tutors that she kept failing the CATW semester after semester. I was not surprised, but I thought it was sad, because I remember her writing level to begin with was not really that far below par, and yet she was not able to improve her writing after so many semesters with so many different professors and tutors. It is sad because it is so clear to me why it took Christy so many semesters before passing the CATW. You need to view this entire lesson so that you become like my students, who, unlike Christy, were able to improve their English writing and reading so much in a short period of time that they passed the CATW. Although some of them have only been learning English for a short time, coming from another country. You need to understand this lesson so that you keep from being like some students who keep frustrating themselves with the wrong approach, resulting in repeatedly failing the CATW and/or the ACT. Here's what some students are saying. I'm frustrated because I keep failing the CATW and I keep having to take another remedial English class. I can't move on to many of my other classes until I pass the CATW. I'm sick of coming back again and again to these remedial English classes. To help those of you who feel this way, I am going to get you to see your situation in a different way, using MMA as an analogy. Very often in life, you have to change the way you see your situation for the situation to change. Probably nobody has used MMA as an analogy for the CATW, so you're going to have to open your mind and bear with me as I explain. Because if you change the way you look at the CATW, it can change everything. Do you know what MMA is? MMA is mixed martial arts, and the most dominant MMA association out there right now is the UFC, also known as the Ultimate Fighting Championship. In a way, you, a student of writing, trying to pass the CATW, are like an MMA fighter, or you should be if you want to do well in the CATW. You'll see why soon. So what does it take to be a professional MMA fighter? Well, to oversimplify it, you have to train in at least 3 different components of martial arts or fighting. Striking, such as boxing, kickboxing, or Muay Thai. Takedowns, such as wrestling and judo. And grappling, such as jiu-jitsu and judo. Then there's the athletic training part, which also contains different components. To oversimplify it, I'll just mention strength, cardio, and core training, but it's actually more to it than these components. But I'm just oversimplifying it for the sake of using it as an analogy, using martial arts training as an analogy. In training your writing for the CATW, you're of course not doing any core or cardio or strength training. I hope nobody's taking this literally. When you're training as a writer in class or in a workshop, you're given various exercises in generating ideas, exercises in improving your analytical reading and analytical thinking skills, and in many other related areas. There are many different types of training
or exercises for improving your writing and reading skills.
So just like any good athlete, they have to have routine or scheduled training and workouts. For you, the college student or the college writer trying to do well in the CATW, you have to have routine training in class or lab and at home. Here's the part that I see some students approach the training differently from the MMA fighter, and that's why these students keep getting knocked out in the ring or in the octagon of the CATW, so to speak. The MMA fighter knows that if he doesn't really train hard enough, if he doesn't really apply himself during training, as unpleasant as the training may be, he's going to get bloodied up and knocked out when it comes time for the match. And that's painful at every level, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Also, even if the MMA fighter trains hard, he will still get killed in the octagon if he is not open-minded enough to try different strategies and train in all the different types of training. Without learning effective strategies and implementing them, training hard alone will not be enough. You need to have both, train hard and apply effective strategies. Students who get badly beaten in the octagon of the CATW often lack in one or both working diligently or working hard in training in class or at home, and being open to different strategies, even if they're unconventional strategies that seems or that feels uncomfortable. So students who get badly beaten in the CATW lack these two areas, one or both of them. Students who fail the CATW repeatedly often are just going through the motions when they are training in class, when they do the exercises and practices. Some of them are not working hard enough and applying themselves. Some of them, however, are applying themselves and working hard, but they are not applying the strategies. They are not applying the strategies and developing their game plan. Experiment with the different strategies and remember to use what works for you by incorporating them into your game plan. And you learn plenty of strategies from your professors, teachers, tutors. So not doing so, not experimenting with the different strategies and incorporating them in your game plan, not doing so is like the martial artist who is not applying what they learned in striking, such as punching, packing a more powerful punch, and it's like a martial artist who's not applying what they learned in takedowns and in grappling. So it's extremely important to apply the strategies, experiment with what works for you. Not using the strategies in writing and reading is like the mixed martial artist or the novice mixed martial artist who throws weak rapid punches. He may be working really hard, practicing his punches. He may be putting a lot of energy into them, but he will still be badly beaten unless or until he starts applying what his boxing coaches teach him, such as engaging his legs, engaging his hips, core, and the whole body, in addition to his arms.
in order to pack a more powerful punch, and that's generally the strategies in striking or punching. If he refuses to apply the boxing strategies and continue with no strategies, such as continuing with his rabbit punches, he will still get badly beaten and bloodied up in the octagon, even if he's working really hard at it. This is exactly the problem with many students who get badly beaten in the octagon or the exam of the CATW. They may be working hard, but they're not applying the strategies from their coaches or teachers. You have to work hard in your training, such as in the reading and writing practices, and apply the strategies if you want to succeed and not get badly beaten by the CATW. Although you need to experiment with strategies and apply them, don't robotically follow strategies or instructions.
In developing yourself as a better writer, you should not follow strategies robotically. That wouldn't work for any type of art, whether it's martial arts, culinary arts, which is cooking, or painting. Writing is also an art, and you can't do well in it if you are the robotic follower of strategies and instructions. You need to start with following them, but not robotically. More about this in another lesson. Regarding a game plan, you should have one. In many cases, your professor or teacher provides a game plan, especially for the CATW. Try it and use it. Often, you may need to alter it to tailor it to your own individual style. If you find that your game plan is not working, I have a 7-step CATW game plan or protocol, which I will present to you soon in another lesson. If I get more demand for it, I'll put it up sooner. Strategies you learn here or from your professors should fit well in this game plan, the 7-step CATW game plan of mine. So the MMA fighter who just sits through practice or who just blindly goes through motions during practice will feel the pain at every level when he gets to his match in the octagon. That's obvious to every one of you. The college writer, in the same way, who just sits through practice in class or in lab, or just blindly goes through the motions to get it over with, will feel the pain in the octagon of the CATW. Unfortunately, because you, unlike the MMA fighter, don't physically get your teeth knocked out and you don't physically see blood, it is not obvious to some of you, but it should be. And that's the unfortunate part, because it's not obvious. It should be obvious that you have to go through the training, focusing on training yourself to be a conditioned writer, to being able to communicate well your ideas about something that you've read, to communicate these ideas well to your readers. You have to train yourself well enough to do this by the time you get to the CATW. Just like the MMA fighter needs to be a conditioned athlete and fighter by the time he enters the octagon of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So whether you're an MMA fighter or a student writer taking the CATW, don't be surprised if you get badly beaten if you haven't trained smart and hard enough. So far, here are the key points. In the same way that effective strategies and hard training make the MMA fighter, effective strategies and hard training will make the CATW writer.